Hello and welcome to the Cyberden, your weekly dose of tech and games. I, Jake, will be chatting with none other than professional actor Linda Kenyon, better known as the voice of the Elves from the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind and the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Thanks for coming, mate.
Well, it's all my pleasure. I'm delighted to be here.
Now, Linda, tell us about the early days of your acting career. What inspired you to enter the world of acting and voiceovers?
Well, my mother was an actress. She was a Broadway actress. My father was an actor. He became a scenic designer. We had actors around all the time when I was growing up. And my father built a little stage, and my brother and I used to fight over it, see who could get on there first. So I always wanted to be an actor. I got married and had 5 kids. And that was sort of stay at home. So I thought voice was my best card. And so I went and did some volunteer radio and then professionally. And then, I've done narrations, and the video games were a lot of fun.
What about the onstage work? How did the transition go from the voice work to the onstage work?
That's a good question, because I think because I'm a tall person, I always felt a little awkward in my body, and so voice was more comfortable. And yet I felt that as the kids got a little older, acting, you got to do some stage work. And so I did Ren Fair. I did some Shakespeare and some things in Washington. The Washington Stage Guild was a really fine group of people, and they put on some great shows, a lot of Shaw and stuff. So, I think the only way to feel more comfortable is just to go ahead and do it, taking some dance lessons and trying to feel natural. And then now I have 3 one-woman shows, Julia Child, Eleanor Roosevelt, and Babe Dietrichson Zacharias. And I have, like next week, 2 days with 2 shows. A show every day next week, I think. Show tomorrow, show Wednesday, a show Friday. And so I get a lot of practice now in front of a lot of people doing real life stuff. Not in the studio, not recording, but I love to record. I love to be in the studio and put the headphones on and sit there at the mic and look at the script and just take it where it goes.
Speaking about your one-woman shows, that sounds like really challenging stuff. Could you tell us more about it?
You're learning it, learning something always takes, everything is different. Some things are easy to learn, some things are not. The Eleanor Roosevelt show lasts about 35 minutes. And when I first did it, I thought, can I hold an audience for that long? And the answer is, yes, I can. And it wasn't that hard to memorize that one. But then the Julia Child show started out as a 2-hour show, which had to be cut down to 1 hour. So I never knew what I was supposed to memorize and what was going to be cut. And so it took me a longer time to memorize that. And then the Babe Dietrichson Zacharias show is, again, about an hour. Totally different character from myself. Totally different. I mean, my high school yearbook said, despises sports. And here she is, the greatest athlete, the greatest athlete of her time, the greatest athlete of the century. It was a challenge. And she's blue collar. And also, I'm getting older, and she died at age 46. So that's a bit younger than me. So it's a stretch in many directions, but all the shows are really good, and they're in demand quite a bit. It's just word of mouth, and I feel very comfortable. It's home base when I'm out there doing that. One time I had a car accident going to a show, and I was a little rattled. But when I got there, and when I got on the script, it was like, I'm not rattled at all now. So yeah, they're popular shows. I didn't write them. I hate to write. I don't mind memorizing. And right now I'm trying to memorize Molly Ivins, The Wit and Wisdom of Molly Ivins, Red Hot Patriot, and also Mrs. Sorkin from Christopher Durang's Durang Durang. And so, and I always like to do that. You know, you can memorize things that you used to know as a kid, or that you tried to memorize, or that you have memorized and you sort of have forgotten, and you can bring them back like a poem. And I always like to do that.
So what would you say are some of your fondest memories or performances on stage?
Oh, well, there's one where the housekeeper, the potting shed, it's by Graham Greene, the potting shed, and the housekeeper, I was a housekeeper, confronts the alcoholic priest, and he was a very good actor, and we had a very strong scene. That was a lot of fun. And then there's some other things that are sort of silly or funny, like when I was in a show and it was called Garage Sale, and the husband was supposed to be selling an electric frying pan in the garage sale, and I came by as his ex-wife, and we had an argument, but he was supposed to show that this thing worked, and he had to eat a raw egg every night because it never could scramble the egg. Another one, I mean, Richard III, his mother, you know, good confrontation there with him. And I like the Eleanor Roosevelt show that I do. That's my favorite of the three. She has some flashbacks in that show. 3 flashbacks, one getting to be on the hockey team and confronting Franklin about his affair with Lucy Mercer, and also talking to her mother-in-law. And I don't know.
So what are some of the challenges that you faced in this field of work?
I think getting work is, you know, a big challenge. And I think technology is a challenge. That's a challenge because you have to keep up with it. And it's always something new. I mean, I'm dating myself, but I started out when it was reel to reel. And when I worked at the radio station, it was splicing and taping the things together, you know, cutting the silences or the takes that we didn't want. And then it went to the tapes, and then it went to CDs, and now it's on the internet. And then you have to send everything. Oh, my God. And now I need to have my own studio. It's like I have to have a studio. So, you know, to catch up and to get work. That's once you have the work, it's fun.
You've worked on your fair share of industrial films, so could you tell us, what are they all about exactly? What is an industrial film?
An industrial film is often a training film. I mean, like I was a psychiatrist talking about talking to another actor who was a veteran who was questioning the prescriptions that he was allowed to, the generic prescriptions that he was allowed to get, as opposed to he wanted to get something that, you know, and I was listening to him and advising him about what to do. Another one was where it was the military. Again, it was how do you tell someone that the person serving in the army has died? How do you approach that? And how to work with some machinery, or how to do something. I mean, it's some of it's very technical, but some of it is sort of role playing, and it's for a limited audience. It's for nothing that a paying audience. It's an audience that needs to be trained, or to be instructed. And in Washington, there was more of that kind of work because of the government. And I'm not in Washington anymore. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Let's talk about your voice roles in video games, starting off with Bethesda's open-world RPGs, both The Elder Scrolls III Morrowind and The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. So what were your experiences working for Bethesda? Were they a good bunch to work with?
Yes, they were. Yes, it was. I enjoyed it very much. They were very nice. There's a guy called Laffy there. I guess his name is really Lafcadio. I forget his last name. It was a while ago, But if you have to be burned alive, for instance, they save that to the end so you don't blow your voice. There's a lot of things that are so different, just jumping from one thing to another. I remember there was one time where it was a whole bunch of stories that were being told, like around the campfire, and each one had a different attitude to it. So just picking it up and grabbing that attitude, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun, and they had something there also where there were a bunch of emotions or affects or something like disgust, joy, surprise, and they sort of told you how much from 0 to 100%. And they also would, after you recorded, they would mold the character's mouth to the words as you had recorded them, which was different from the old days where you had to look at the characters and try to make your mouth move the way the characters were moving. That was before things got a little more sophisticated.
How long did it take to actually record these many, many lines of dialogue for both games?
Didn't take long at all. I mean, it was a few days in the studio. I sort of wickedly blew through them rather quickly, and Central Casting had booked 2 days, and I did it in 1 day. And they were pretty mad at me because I said, I was only here 1 day. You don't have to pay me for 2 days. They didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. I learned my lesson. Ask them first. But yeah, no, you have to adjust for the different volume levels at the studio. You have to adjust for volume and for intensity. I often found that I was not giving the engineer enough time in between because it was so fun and exciting. It was a lot of fun. And I'm a mild-mannered person. I don't come in there as though I'm, full of jokes or anything. But yet, if you ask me to make up a song on the spot or to go into gibberish or whatever you want, I try to deliver it and have fun doing it.
Did you expect either of these titles to become so famous on release?
No, I didn't. And I've been in some other, it was Star Trek, I think. I haven't played the games. I did buy Morrowind, and I bought another one recently, which had to be bought secondhand. But I've been in a few other video games, minor characters, but these ones were much more fun. I guess once Morrowind, Blood Moon, Oblivion 2nd Edition, the Elder Scrolls, all this, it seemed to be something that kept going. So I guess at first I didn't, I had no idea, but then one of them won Game of the Year, and then Skyrim, they did not call me. And I was disappointed about that, and some other people were too. I think they were casting out of California. I don't know. I sort of tried to say, hey, here I am. You liked me. Don't you want me back? But, I don't know.
Still, it was a shame, really. I remember playing Skyrim, and I listened to some of the voice actors, and I thought, I don't know. I missed the old ones. I really just missed all the voice actors from Oblivion, especially. I just loved all of them.
Yeah. Yes, I had a fan in Australia who used to say how much she enjoyed listening to my voice, and she was very disappointed with Skyrim when they didn't have me there. But, they made their choice, and it's their choice to make.
Now, ever since Oblivion was released, there have been so many fans making hilarious parodies, remixes, mashup videos, and other kind of goofy videos to do with the game.
They do.
Yeah.
I know they do. They want me. They would like me to do some things for free. I always tell them, I'm a union member. You can ask them. You go through the union if you want to get me, because I think they would love to have me just play with them and do some of these things and put my voice in there, and just on these, as you said, mashups.
Have you watched many of these sorts of videos?
No, I haven't. Like, for instance, that I get news on Google. They will give me news from Bethesda Softworks because I'm interested to see what they're doing. And so every once in a while I go there to see what they're up to. But I haven't watched. No, I haven't.
I'd certainly recommend it. You'd be surprised what people have pulled off.
So I guess you're a gamer. I did put in, back when I was in Washington, known and feared by gamers. And I always think, I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you. These people that are playing the games, I'm playing with them. So imagining the person who is there playing, that's sort of my inspiration as I'm reading the script. And you're a voice actor, so you know how you sort of think of whom you're talking to.
Even to this day, after over 10 years, people are still playing both of these games to this very day, so that really must be lovely to know, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, every once in a while, there's like, if I go to on Google or something, to Linda Kenyon voice, and what I get more than anything is the Morrowind, some comments about the games, that people are still talking about it, still playing them.
Do you remember any of the lines?
Did today? I had the scripts somewhere, but I couldn't find them, and I looked for a few hours trying to look for those old scripts to see if I could find some of the lines that I loved, but I couldn't find them.
It must be a lot of lines to kind of pick out from memory.
I found some other scripts, but I just didn't find that.
I'll share a little fun fact with you about one of the lines from Oblivion, if you're interested.
Okay.
It seems that in-game, there was a bit of dialogue that you did, but I think one of the editors, the sound editors at Bethesda, didn't cut it out, so you say the line something like, "Oh, I heard these thieves got to these 3 places in one night." Can I do that again? I heard that they got to these places in one night. Yeah, you hear yourself go, "Can I do that again?" 2 takes in 1.
They didn't cut it out.
No, they didn't. They forgot.
Funny, yeah.
Yeah, the funniest thing is that that snippet has appeared countless times on many videos saying, "Did you know that there's this blooper in Oblivion?" And I watch it like, yes, I know.
Oh, it wasn't my fault. But I do remember one time just recording, I remember getting burned alive. That was early on. But I remember one time when it was something about blood, and I got all just really into it. And I'm not, any person who's ever gone in for gore, but I thought, oh my goodness, what am I tempting these people to, it was just blood. It was blood. It was like there was, it was very juicy. Very juicy, yeah. And I gave the game to my prayer partner. And then it said, there is blood and violence, it's only for teenagers. I thought, oh, should I be giving that to my prayer partner? I should give him a Bible. Wait a minute, there's blood and violence in the Bible. Oh, well, I'll give him both. So I did. And I think he liked them both.
Let's talk about dream roles. Are there any voice roles or acting roles that you would love to do?
Well, I am just so thrilled about Mrs. Sorkin in Durang Durang. I am looking forward to doing that someplace at some, there's a possibility of doing it in some venue around here. And so she's so fun. She's a suburban woman who is very charming and gracious and ditzy and talking about the derivation of words, drama, and it's pretty funny. So I'm really looking forward to that. I always wanted to play Hedda Gabler, but it's that time has passed, and yeah. And I think I really Molly Ivins is a very good role, and I'm looking forward to doing that sometime. She was a journalist in Texas journalist.
So what do you like to do outside of voice acting and acting on stage? How do you like to mellow out and relax?
Oh, well, of course, I like to read. And I like to have people over. I had about 40 people over yesterday and 70 people over the week before. And on Friday, I had 8 people over. And, I do that kind of thing. I occasionally, I have a pretty house, but it's a barn. It's a stone barn. And so I don't have much money, but I have a nice house. And if you want to have opera singers come here, or if you want to have Linda Kenyon cook you a dinner and bid on that dinner, then you can put that on the auction. And so I can do that kind of thing. So I do that. And, then I have to recover from it by doing a lot of ironing and washing of dishes. But that's fun. That's fun. I garden until I get a backache, but then I stop. I don't mind weeding, don't like to plant. Like ironing, actually, but don't do it for fun. Enjoying people, I'm a church lady too, go to church.
Are you a movie fan or a music lover?
Yes, a music lover. I'm on the board of Concordia Chamber Players, and I just about do anything for them. I always do the reception and sometimes have the musicians over here for dinner, or have the board over here for dinner, can decide what food to serve and stuff. But I sing in the choir at church. So I like music, music and movies. I'm always feeling as though I should catch up on movies because I don't really see them enough. I get screeners, but they always come at the last minute. You never can see them in time to vote. They send them when you don't, like, a week before the voting. And then I don't know. I don't mind. If I really want to see something, I go by myself. But I'm not a real movie buff. It's like I need to take a video vacation and just go and do it. Just sit there in the movie theater. Just catch up.
Now, is there anything you'd like to say to the many, many fans out there, the many fans of the Elder Scrolls series?
I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you, yeah.
Linda, it's been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Oh, thanks, Jake. It's been a blast for me too. And that was a really, really, really fun job. I'm telling you, the Elder Scrolls, all that, tops and fun.
That's good to hear. And personally, I would also like to thank my lovely listeners out there for once again tuning into the Cyberden, your weekly dose of tech and games. So, Linda, thanks for jumping on board and good luck with those shows.
Thank you.